Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's a very special day for several of us and even more so for several others. We're welcoming all of our new board members to the esteemed Washoe County School District, finding that your input in the brief time you've been either appointed and or elected, you have done a lot of good things already. And as you well know, we are all here to support our children and families. And I really don't believe there's a better way to spend your life. So thank you for running for office, thank you for being elected, and thank you for being here today. We will start with the roll call. And I guess, JJ?
Trustee Frankel.
Present.
Trustee Mayer.
Present.
Trustee Rosenberg.
Here.
Trustee Ruggiero.
Present.
Trustee Smith.
Here.
Trustee Taylor.
I'm here.
Vice President McCleary.
Present. Nick, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please, today?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call for public comment. These two people are going to go.
Yes.
Oh, pardon me.
Oh, don't be.
We need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second to adopt the agenda. Any discussion? All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All of those opposed, the ayes have it. Now we will move into public comment. We have Mano Shere Kosh Javandi Zaded. Mano, welcome.
Thank you very much. My name is Manocher Khoshjabinzadeh, and I have a lot of subject to bring it to your attention, but I chose one of them, the most important one, because I have just 3 minutes, and that is toward Mrs. Tracy Davis. You know, when we bring the issue to authority, always, not always, some of them, they say, oh, you should not forget our state doesn't have a state tax, or our poverty rate is 47%, which is they do not consider no state in the world is going to have a good income unless they have a good education. And if we have a good education, the rate goes down. And when authority, they have a problem, and immediately they take care of them by putting the lawsuit, and the same time we see they tell us we don't have a state tax, or we have a poverty rate is so high that's been shut up and don't accept anymore. At the same time they spend a lot of money for the lawsuit. And we have a passive society toward the education. Parents, they don't get involved in that education, unfortunately. And I'm asking you to please have a good bridge of connection with the public. Come to the public. We have a lot of things to say to you, and we want to hear from you also. Like Dr. Morrison used to do that, Dr. Pedro Martinez used to do that, and I am looking forward to see you in the public pretty soon, like a brown bag, lunch bag, or other meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contributions today.
Thank you.
Anne Emery Lewis.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
My name is Ann Embry Lewis. I'm a substitute teacher with Washoe County School District, and I emailed each of you today my letter, but I'm going to read it anyway because I'm not sure if you're busy. I'm not sure if you read it or received it yet. With so much recent focus on problems within Washoe County School District, this is a perfect time to bring attention to another serious problem in the school district: the low wages of substitute teachers in the district, lowest in the state, and the consequential great shortage of subs in a state ranked dead last in the nation for academic success. I'm a sub, licensed in Nevada. I have 18 years of education, a college degree, and I'm required by Washoe County School District to have no criminal record and many very positive professional and personal references. I have 25 years' experience working directly in the classroom, both as a regular teacher and sub. Substitute teaching works for me right now because I need a flexible schedule. I'm not retired, nor do I receive any other pension. Subs are notoriously underpaid, but I didn't realize just how much until I moved a year ago to Reno, where I hope to make at least a living wage. How shocked and devastated I was to learn that subs in Washoe County School District earn only $82 a day, or $11.70 an hour for 7 hours of work. Federal poverty level in 2014 was $11,670 for a single person household, which I am. And a sub who works every day of the 185-day school calendar year earns $15,170 with no insurance or other benefits and before taxes. I was even more disheartened to learn that many entry-level, non-skilled workers here in Reno with perhaps little or no formal education make that or close to that. I know housekeepers and landscapers personally, illegal US citizens, who make much more. In comparison, both California and Maryland pay substitute teachers between $150 to over $200 per day. To add insult to injury, prior to being hired as a sub teacher here in Nevada, I had to pay for my school transcripts, about $200 total from all colleges attended, $155 for a state license, and $110 total for 2 sets of fingerprints, one for the state and one for Washoe County School District. I'm also required to take 6 units yearly of professional development courses. Why don't I simply seek employment in some other area where I can make a living wage? I love to teach, and I'm a professional who fills a critical void when regular teachers have family crises or are ill, injured, or pregnant. I must possess many complex skills to survive the demands of the profession and must always be extremely adaptable, flexible, patient, and creative in order to deal with classroom management, curriculum, sudden changes, and sometimes no lesson plans, and often unfamiliar students, staff, and procedures. It's well known that children can be and usually are more challenging when faced with the sub. A number of times in my career, I've been called at the beginning of the school year to fill in when a contract teacher has not been hired.
Anne, you need
Yes.
to wind up, please.
Okay. I just want you to know that, in 2014, because the number of professional development course requirements for contract teachers in Washoe County School District has risen, and teachers must be absent from their classrooms to attend daytime courses, the total days needed for subs district-wide has increased by 5,000. At the same time, Washoe County School District is losing about 600 subs annually because they're quickly discouraged by the low wages and might last only 1 academic year. Okay? The costly and lengthy hiring process puts added pressure on the district and other employees to try to fill the void. Furthermore, when there are no subs, regular teachers have to get called out of their classrooms to take turns subbing in the absent teacher's classroom. And even though teachers are paid for loss of planning, they're often resentful and exhausted. The pay for 1 planning period lost for 1 teacher is more than Washoe County School District pays a sub for a whole day. Do the math. The whole district loses. I don't want to quit subbing because I hold out a slight bit of hope, but
All right, I'm
it's time
sorry.
for
I'm
everyone-
sorry you're going to need to
Okay.
end right now.
It's time for everyone to take a look at this, take a second look at the situation. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention again. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 201, a closed executive session. A motion is needed for that and a second.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we move into executive session, which means everyone will need to clear the room. Thank you. We have now reconvened this meeting and beginning with item 3.01, the annual reorganization of the Board of Trustees, starting with the ceremonial oath of office for newly elected and re-elected members of the Board of Trustees. Starting with Veronica Frankel. And Frankie Sue Del Papa. Welcome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here, and I would ask her husband and daughter to join me as I administer the oath to Veronica. I state your name.
I, Veronica Frankel,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and the Constitution and government of the state of Nevada
and the Constitution and government of the state of Nevada
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
whether domestic or foreign,
whether domestic or foreign,
and that I will bear true faith,
and that I will bear true faith,
allegiance,
allegiance,
and loyalty to the same.
and loyalty to the same.
Any ordinance,
Any ordinance,
resolution, or law
resolution, or law
of any state notwithstanding,
of any state notwithstanding,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
all the duties of the office of school trustee
all the duties of the office of school trustee,
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Yay. Veronica, would you like to say a few words? And
First I get to pin her.
oh, all right.
She's going to officially pin me.
For God's sake, don't let
Very good.
All the best.
Would you like to say a few words, Veronica?
thank you.
Introduce formally your family.
Yes. I'd like to thank all of you and for this opportunity to serve the community and the public. I'd like to especially thank my wonderful husband, Patrick, and my daughter, who is my inspiration for all things, my high school daughter, Christina. And at this moment, I'm also thinking of my father, who's not here presently, who passed away in 2001, but who dedicated his life to teaching after coming here for an education from South America. So this day is for him as well. I really look forward to serving all of you, and I'm honored and excited to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Veronica. Congratulations. Next up will be John Mayer and Nick Smith, both being sworn in by our illustrious Mayor Gino Martini. Thank you and congratulations to everyone, and thank you for doing this, Gino. We appreciate it.
I think John has this memorized, so. Do it.
See, Gino thinks he's been a mayor a long, long time, but I've been a mayor a few more years than he has.
Oh! Excuse my back. Okay, here we go. I state your name.
I, Nick Smith,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government
the Constitution and government
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and government
and the Constitution and government
of the state of Nevada
of the state of Nevada
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
whether domestic or foreign,
whether domestic or foreign,
and that I will bear true faith,
and that I will bear true faith,
allegiance, and loyalty
allegiance, and loyalty
to the same.
to the same.
Any ordinance,
Any ordinance,
resolution, or law
resolution, or law
of any state notwithstanding,
of any state notwithstanding,
and that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully perform
and faithfully perform
all the duties of the office of school trustee,
all the duties of the office of school trustee,
in which I am about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Trustee Mayor, do you have someone or some people who you would like to introduce? And you too, Nick?
My son's absence.
Oh, all
But
right.
he said he was going to be here, but he probably got in a wreck or something. I'd like to introduce my lovely wife, Janice, who's been with me through thick and thin for 42 years.
All right.
And,
All right. Welcome, Janice. Nick?
Thank you all for coming. I did want to just introduce my wife and 2 kids, really my inspiration for everything that I do. My wife Julia and my oldest son Aiden, my youngest son Ethan. Those guys are why I'm here today. Thank you.
And Don Gustafson has apologized for his inability to be here today, but he really appreciates being asked. Thank you so much.
Slick in those.
All right. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
you've already won the election. Please sit down.
Oh. There probably won't be another.
Oh, I don't know about that. All right, item 3.02. We begin with board nominations and election of the president of the Board of Trustees. I would call for nominations at this point.
I'd like to nominate John Mayer for president.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ruggiero. Is there a second to that?
I second.
Very good. We have a nomination and a second for that. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. JJ, will you please call the roll?
Veronica Frankel. Aye. John Mayer.
Aye.
Barbara McClary.
Aye.
Howard Rosenberg.
Aye.
Lisa Ruggiero.
Aye.
Nick Smith.
Aye.
Angela Taylor.
Aye.
All right. There are no nays, so you are unanimously elected as president of the Board of Trustees for this coming school year, 2015, on into 16 on in 2015. Congratulations, John. All right, board nominations and election of the vice president of the Board of Trustees. I call for nominations for the vice president.
I'd like to nominate Dr. Taylor.
I second.
All right, thank you. We have a first and a second for that. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. JJ, will you please call the roll?
Veronica Frankel.
Aye.
John Mayer.
Aye.
Barbara McClary.
Aye.
Howard Rosenberg.
Aye.
Lisa Ruggiero.
Aye.
Nick Smith.
Aye.
Angela Taylor.
Another unanimous cast of votes. So, Dr. Taylor, you will be the vice president of the Board of Trustees for this year, 2015. Congratulations. All right. Board nominations and election of clerk of the Board of Trustees. Calling for nominations for that position.
I'd like to
nominate Dr. McClary.
I think that's a second. Excuse me, could you repeat that? I'm not sure I heard it.
Thank you very much. Is there a second on that? Both I appreciate Lisa Ruggiero and Veronica Frankel as well. Is there a second for that?
Second.
All right, Nick Smith has seconded. Are there any more nominations? All right, hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Veronica Frankel.
Aye.
John Mayer.
Aye.
Barbara McClary.
Aye.
Howard Rosenberg.
Aye.
Lisa Ruggiero.
Aye.
Nick Smith.
Aye.
Angela Taylor.
Aye.
Well, congratulations to me. All right, so we have our new slate of officers for this coming year, 2015, and we're going to take a recess of about 10 to 15 minutes to reorganize the way we are sitting here at these tables.
God, be careful. Gotta get used to that.
It works well. I'll call the meeting of the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees back to order. Our first order of business is the consent items. Is there anyone that wants to pull any? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Okay, all of those have been approved. I'm going to do something a little different in running meetings. This is the way we're going to run it according to Robert's rules. We'll have a staff report, then we'll take a motion, and then we will discuss it, and I'll start and I'll go around the table. Each of you have an opportunity. When we get through first, then I'll have a go around again for rebuttals or anything you want to add, and then we'll call for public consent, public input, and the public can come and give input, and then we'll vote on the motion. Sometimes it'll be passed, as we said it before the discussions. Sometimes it might be not, but we're going to run a faster meeting, because I know just sitting in those chairs, the behinds kind of get tired after 6 hours. So we're going to try to be more efficient in our meetings, and I think that'll help. And if after 2 rounds you really have something that you don't think it's been said or whatever, raise your hand and I'll let you speak again. So we're on item 501. Fuley back from maternity leave, and Inger to get started. Leslie Anderson. Lindsay. I'm sorry, I said Leslie. I'm sorry. In fact, you'll have to tell you, did you get a chance to talk to Gino? Because I know Gino and your dad are good friends from high school days. One was the center on the team and one was a quarterback, so they got real close in high school.
I got to talk to him yesterday a little bit at our concurrent meeting, and yeah, there have been plenty of inappropriate jokes about their football relationship.
Exactly.
Which I won't go into.
It's not on here.
Consent.
Were they in consent? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, I wonder when you were going to introduce our new person in legislative affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome. Nice to see you. This is my first week back, second day from maternity leave, so I'm a little rusty, so bear with me. But very excited to be back in front of you in 2015, an odd year, a legislative year. If I haven't formally introduced, this is Scott Baez. He will be working for us and with us in the legislative session as part of the government affairs team. So you'll get to see his friendly face, whether one of us is stuck in Carson or one of us is back here for a board meeting. Sometimes there's a conflict in those times, so one of us will be here and you may see Scott. So I've enjoyed getting to work with him, and I know you will too. So
welcome, Scott.
Thank you very much.
So I'm here today to present the draft of a 2015 legislative platform for the Washoe County School District. Hopefully you have that draft platform attached and we can all go through it, kind of the high points with you. There were 2 other attachments to the staff report. One was the 2013 legislative platform, just as a bit of context for you. Also, it looks really pretty, and I just want to assure you that once the language we approve this year is finished, we will have our talented graphic designers make it look pretty again for this coming session. But it's just a bit of a point of context. To be honest, much of the same language from 2013 has been carried over to 2015. Many of the education issues we'll be facing are very similar, and as far as feedback I've gotten, you know, our position hasn't changed greatly. And then I've also attached the platform from the Superintendents Association for the 2015 legislative session. We call it INVEST. Previous Superintendent Martinez was part of that development. Tracy, Superintendent Davis, interim Superintendent Davis, whatever we call her, was certainly part of that process towards the tail end. But it's something that the superintendents get together every legislative session and do this. I think this is the 12th year they have done it, and it's a really good basis for basically a statewide approach to what the educational leaders, the superintendents of the state, believe are the most important issues facing our state this coming session. So I really wanted you to see that, because that was a big part of how we developed our own legislative platform as a district, because I would say by and large we are in agreement as a district with what the Superintendent's Association has put together. I also know the School Boards Association, they don't participate as much in the development of the language, but they work with Dottie Merrill and I don't know, do you guys
Yes, we had
take a vote or
we had
approve?
2 members on that committee,
Oh,
one from
great.
Eureka and one from Elko.
Fantastic.
And in fact, we were in part in the rewrite of it last summer,
Mm-hmm.
and we got it approved by all 14, you count Carson City as a city, but all the,
Right.
I call them 17 counties, so,
Yes.
but it was unanimous. So that means not one school board member in the state of Nevada voted against that document.
Great, thank you for that historical information. So I think it's a really good basis and a guiding document that our district should look to as we develop our own platform, which is what we have presented with you today. So if you quickly, I'll just sort of run through the high points of the 2015 draft document for you. Again, much of the introductory language is very similar to what we had in 2013. It's been updated a bit to reflect some new issues we're facing, like growth, that we weren't necessarily considering as strongly in the 2013 session. As you know and have heard ad nauseum, including yesterday, and thank you for being at the concurrent meeting yesterday, capital projects continues to be a very high priority for us, continuing to look for solutions for capital, both on the maintenance of our existing buildings and now really the need for additional capacity for student growth. So you'll see that as a primary focus of our legislative platform. There's a lot of work going on statewide on that issue right now. There was a couple press releases about it yesterday about some bills that are being proposed by various legislators. So I think you'll be hearing a lot about capital projects funding. Secondarily, not in terms of importance, but just in terms of order, we have a section about operating funds, essentially saying we hope that there are no cuts to education. I know there's been some press about a potential budget shortfall, and so it's important for us to continue to emphasize the importance to keep our budgets at the very minimum stable and whole, if not more. And then the second bullet there is a bit wordy and long, but I hope you'll bear with me because it's an important issue around the funding formula. And those of you that were with us last session, I know we talked a lot about the potential change in the funding formula and the nervousness we all had about if the pie stays the same and money shifts to Clark County School District, the rest of us stand to lose. I think the interim committee that developed the recommendation for the funding formula going forward eliminated a lot of that risk with some very strong hold harmless language. So I want to acknowledge that language exists. But, you know, as a concept, we support moving to a weighted student funding formula, given, of course, it doesn't negatively impact our district.
Or any other district.
Or any other district. And the language is generic enough. It does not specifically talk about ours. In fact, it says, until adequate funds ensure that no district receives decreased funding. The third set of bullets you'll find is around human capital, right? Our most important asset is our people. And there's a lot of language in here around the proposed teacher evaluation system that we know is going to be a major topic of discussion this upcoming session, as well as professional development for our teachers and our administrators and staff. So those I know are going to be major points of emphasis for educators. It was a big part of the INVEST platform, is making sure we're investing in our people. Including being able to fairly and defensively evaluate them, especially for Washoe that's used a bit of a different framework than the rest of the state. We certainly will push hard to make sure we can continue to move forward with that framework, which we think best reflects our district. Okay, the next section is around local control and direct democracy, and even though it's not quite as much fanfare as we had with Assembly Bill 46, this year we have Senate Bill 19, so we'll be starting in the other house. And as you remember, we had a vote from this board, or previous members of this board, to request the ability for a school board to ask an advisory question on a general election ballot, something that school districts have not had the authority to do in the past. And I think in some ways it has hampered our ability to connect with the voters that elected you. So that will be our bill this session, again, Senate Bill 19. And I look forward to making sure we get that signed by the governor this year. I'm moving fast here, just stop me at any time. The next section is around college and career readiness. This is really around curriculum, content standards, early childhood. You'll see there our support for the Nevada Academic Content Standards and the Smarter Balanced assessments that we know have been adopted by the State Board of Education, so we are complying with that, as well as the continued implementation of the change from the high school proficiency exam to the end of course exams, which we know is really still a work in progress. And then some pretty strong language around emphasis around early childhood education, including the expansion of full-day kindergarten to all of our schools, state-funded, as well as pre-K programs. We know that the state recently was awarded a pre-K grant, and so we're demonstrating our support for that grant, the matching funds that are necessary from the state to implement that in our district. Second to the last section is around school safety. We know that's the #1 priority for us, is to have safe schools for our children. So we have language in here supporting efforts to ensure that through social emotional learning, as well as bullying prevention, privacy issues, especially in the K-12 setting. We know we hear a lot about privacy issues these days too, and so we want to express our support for making sure that our students' privacy is protected. And the last section on school choice, that may be something that you don't see a lot of times coming from a school district, but I think our district has really done a wonderful job of offering choices to our students, and so we want to acknowledge that we do want to provide options for our students within our school district, with the caveat that we don't want to divert resources from public schools to private institutions while we're trying to deliver public education to children. So there's some language in there about that. I hope you'll review it and provide some feedback on that. And right now, that is the extent of our legislative platform. That seems like a lot, but there's probably 10 more things we put in there that we didn't. So Scott and I stand ready to take your feedback and make some modifications. If we have modifications, we will come back to you on January 27th for your final adoption of the board platform.
So you're just asking for acceptance of your report?
Feedback, if there are changes or things you'd like to see added or deleted, we'd like to hear that now so we can come back at the end of January if that's necessary.
Well, let's start with a motion to accept the report, and then we'll go around and see what we have here.
I move that we accept the report as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Now we'll go around. Mr. Smith.
I have no questions.
Okay.
I do have a question. You said our framework for teacher evaluation is a little different in our district. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
I know that's probably a much broader question, but can you give me
How long do we have?
Not that long.
I'm
so.
kidding, I know.
Okay.
And there are lots of people in the audience who are probably more well-versed on this than me, but I'll do my best to summarize. Essentially, our district was awarded some federal grant money about 5 years ago, and I'm rounding, so it could have been longer. Kristen's behind me, I know, probably nodding or shaking her head. I can't. I know I'm a mom, so I have eyes in the back of my head, but I really can't see her back there. And so we had done a lot of work in our district around teacher evaluations and performance pay, that we had moved forward with a particular tool that we use in our district, and we have trained our staff on how to implement that tool.
Mm-hmm.
A few years later, the state, through legislative action in 2011, wanted to develop a framework for teacher evaluation, and we influenced that process, but ultimately the recommendations are slightly different than what we're doing in our district.
Mm-hmm.
And so we feel like what we're doing now best reflects the work in our district. We've done the training for our teachers and our administrators, and we'd really like the ability to stick with that, and I would really like Superintendent Davis to jump in.
So it gets down to this. We received a phone call. We talked to Nevada State Education, and we were told that we would have to use the state system/tool. We have an argument about is it a tool versus a system, because of what the law said. We had previously been given an exception, or thought we could have an exception, but 3 weeks ago they told us the only way we could use what we had it has to be change in the law.
Okay. So is that on our agenda as well to get an allowance for that? Okay.
Right.
Got it.
That's part of your lobbying, is to make sure that we can have an exception.
Yes, I would say that's a primary emphasis for us.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you. I'm good otherwise. Thanks. That wasn't so bad. Huh?
No, thank you, Taylor.
She's like looking at me.
Barbara, your turn.
All right, I have issues about the early literacy being left out, and I talked to you about that the other day. And because Governor Sandoval will be doing the state and revealing what his goals are going to be, particularly for education, I would not want us to miss an opportunity to either be able to jump on the wagon and or say that we agree with this or we don't agree with that. So I think that you've done some yeoman's work here, as you always do, but I don't want us to jump on any bandwagon until we certainly know what musical tunes are going to be played by the governor. And so that's one thing that I would like to wait to know. But that's going to be.
You and me both.
Trustee Rosenberg.
As it's written now, this assessment instrument that they want to use, I'd like to administer it to all of the legislators. If they can pass it, I won't open my big mouth. And I know damn well they can't. And I don't know how to put it into anything like this, but we need to go through it very carefully, and I think need to rewrite what it is that we want in this document. And if it means changing a law, fine, then let's change the law. But for the love of Pete, stop being dictated to by people who don't know what they're talking about. I feel so much better, I can't begin to tell you.
You look better. Trustee Frankel.
Yeah, I just have a couple questions, just to echo what Trustee Taylor asked regarding the differences between our performance evaluation system. I know that's a longer conversation, and I was actually wondering if there was a way we could get something that described a little bit the differences. And I understand that we have our system set up in support of our current evaluation process, and we want to keep those. I just kind of wanted to understand more what the differences are between our system and that of the state. And maybe that's a one-on-one conversation, or maybe there's a document that can be distributed to us so we can understand that more. Because I'm not in support of keeping our own, I just want to understand what the state has versus.
Well, we can get that for you because we've done a crosswalk also to show the differences between the two and how we actually do mesh up to what the state would like us to do. So that's the conversation between the tool used to ascertain the data versus the data that we actually give them. But we can give you that.
Perfect. I'm not surprised at all that we have something like that. The other question I had, I'm looking at the college and career readiness section, and I do see the infrastructure and hardware necessary to administer the assessments, and I think that's a very important piece from what I'm hearing and what I know from what the challenges are in the schools already with administering assessments and with the increased number of assessments. Just really, I'm seeing this as, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is our opportunity to say we want to do this and we need more resources and support to be able to do this. So I guess I wanted to echo that's a critical part of the success of the content, the academic content standards and the smarter balance assessment. So I'm just emphasizing that that's an important piece for the schools.
I totally agree. Just being able to give the test, not even, whether how well we do on it, but just getting students through it, I think is critically important. I agree.
I like what you said. I feel that instead of saying college or career ready, we should say college and career ready, because there's so many of us that had a career to pay our way through college. Yeah. And if we didn't have that career, we probably would have never made it through college. So I think to narrow it down to just college ready, when a lot of kids need support by going out there and beginning a career, that we should develop both. And I would like to hear us change the or to and, because I know I talked to you about it, and we said and. It says and in there?
Yeah.
It's already been changed, so I'm behind the times.
Good job, Mr. President. Got that done already.
Boy, just like that. But, okay, and now we'll go around if anybody has something else to add. Mr. Smith?
Yeah, one thing that maybe I would maybe just exclude, because I don't know that we need to put it in there because it's already the law, is a full implementation of Nevada academic content standards. I don't know why we need to put it in there, because we don't have a way out.
So I'll tell you, Trustee Smith, my thought process for putting it in is there could potentially be, so part of this is me trying to forecast what may come up and wanting to try to get ahead of that. And I think there may be potential legislation about reversing that decision, or at least it may be discussed. And so it would be good for me to know what the flavor of this board is in terms of that legislation. And the flavor has been in the past that we supported the implementation of those standards. So I'm trying to forecast that may come up and wanting to know in advance how we feel about it.
I think, just speaking for me, if that conversation did come up, if there's a solution provided, an alternative to Nevada academic content standards that is a better solution than what we have with adopting that standard, I think we've limited ourselves now to not being able to look at that solution, because there may be something better proposed, and that kind of blocks that for me.
Understood.
Good point. Good point.
I don't have any other comments, thank you.
Yes.
I'd just like to see, and I'm not sure how to word it, a vocational element involved in this too. Not every kid needs to go to college. And I think we really need to make a point of that. I have so many kids up at UNR who are there because they don't know where else to go. And it's not good.
No.
Is that our career part, when we say college and career, that doesn't open it enough? Okay.
I think they get confused.
Yes.
President Obama has just introduced the community college.
Free.
Yeah, free community college. And whether or not that passes, I think that looking at what we're dealing with across the students and the range of development and so on, that's a very strong point. Because the community colleges are pretty much in tune with what's going on in the employment field and are working closely, I think Pete would reaffirm that, with Tesla and so on, to be sure that we're aligning our curriculum as we talk about those signature academies, that they're also talking about, they do that, the technical training there, and I don't think that we're really fully giving them credit for what they are doing for many of our students and certainly for the community at large. So I think that we need to be much more cognizant of the collaboration within our community as it relates to jobs, period. College and career, but jobs are also important, and no matter how you shade it, a job is a job is a job, a career is a career is a career. A career can be a job can be a career. So somehow we seem to have gotten within a box, and we want to be sure that we're not overlooking what's going on nationally. I mean, that would take state buy-in on all of that, but nonetheless, it's supposedly directed at the middle class, and we need to have more students who are having high-level skills in relationship to some of the new technology that's coming into our area. I mean, every time you look around, EDON and all of those fellows who are here for economic development within our community are really, really working hard and really have done some remarkable things by bringing in new businesses to our community. So we do want to be sure that we're also cognizant of that. And I don't know whether that'll come up at all within this legislature, because it would, I believe, require state buy-in on the tuition piece for all students to be able to go to the community college for free. Right. There are criteria developed around it that the federal government is putting in place, so I think that's something that we need to also keep in mind as we develop our platform. And we always know that we don't have it written in stone. If in fact something should come up that we really need to weigh in on, then I think we need to be flexible enough to do that.
Thank you. Trustee Frankel?
My only thought is I was looking at the phrasing on the Nevada academic content standards in terms of full implementation. I read that more as, and again, this is my understanding of what we would want to encourage there legislatively around resources and support around professional development and support for our teachers in being successful with the implementation of the new standards. So that's what I would articulate it, less necessarily supporting the standards per se, but supporting a process that is going to help that transition that is ongoing be successful in our schools.
Great. I think we can certainly modify the language to make sure we're reflecting what it is that this board wants. So we will play with the language on that and see if we can make that a little bit more clear. We will certainly take your feedback, and if there's something that comes out of the State of the State address, we will add it here if it becomes relevant. And then we can strengthen the language around career, community college, workforce training, and our acknowledgement of the importance of that, and make sure that's highlighted in here as well.
Well, are we doing something about literacy? Perhaps we need to do the literacy and language development. We actually have a very strong policy that we approved, I would say, 6 months ago. And that is going to be an ongoing issue at the state of Nevada. Last legislature, we got $50 million, wasn't it, Kristen, for ESL children, EEL children? So yeah. I'm always going to be focused on the instructional pieces of what we are ensuring that we're doing. So you can raise the content standards, which talks a lot more about everyone having the same access, but knowing the development of children. Differentiation is an important key in relating all of the standards to all of the children, because they're all different developmentally and intellectually and so on. So that's my
We can certainly add,
statement
and I just missed the bullet. It was the first one and I skipped it, around early literacy and language, so we can make that a bigger emphasis as well.
Yeah, it is more than early literacy. It's truly the development of language for those youngsters as well, who are second language learners.
Understood. Good feedback.
Okay. Logan, do you have anything to add? You sure? Yes. Speak now or forever. I want to, there's a motion on the floor, but I'd like to say that I am developing committees, and you'll have the assistance, since you're the person, but the assistance of Trustee Frankel and Trustee Taylor and Trustee Ruggiero, and they'll be part of the legislative committee for you. Use them, because you've got a good cross-section there, the good backgrounds and so forth, so use them to their fullest, if you will.
Thank you, President Mayor. We will do that, and as you know, sometimes the legislative session moves faster than our bi-monthly board meetings, and so having that committee is really helpful when things are happening in 24-hour periods. So.
Exactly. And I think that those three people will have the pulse of our board, so I think it'll be a good combination.
Thank you for that resource.
Yes.
A question on the motion then, because she's going to, and thank you for being flexible enough to adjust the document a little bit to reflect some of the comments. The motion was to accept it as presented.
Yeah, maybe we should.
So as the maker of the motion, should I amend that?
Yes, I think we should.
Okay, then let's amend the motion to say that that I move that we accept the report as with the tenets of the board reflected in it as changed. Does that give you the room you need?
That's great.
Okay.
Who was the second?
I'll accept the
Accept the amendment? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have a motion on the floor as amended. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same signal. So carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Mayor.
If you will, when you get home to that new little baby, give her a hug for the Board of Trustees, will you? Oh, him, yeah. That's right. I know.
I have a firstborn little baby girl too,
Yeah.
so
I
you can have a kiss too.
And what a mistake, because I know you named him
you wanted to-
John.
Yeah, well, sorry that didn't ultimately make the cut. It was a top contender though.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll go to item 601, discussion and update regarding the fiscal year 15-16 budget. And we have two, we'll call this the Tom and Mike show.
President Mayor, Interim Superintendent Davis, members of the board, Student Representative Carlson. For the record, I'm Tom Szynski. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the school district, and with me is our Budget Director, Mike Schroeder. So let me start off by congratulating the board members, our new board members and officers on your positions. Well done. Great. With regard to the budget, and continuing from the orientation that we had with the new members several weeks back, we are in a legislative year, having just followed Lindsay, so I guess I'll just echo what she said. And as you will hear us often say, we are at the mercy of the governor and the legislature as we work with them on the biennial budget for fiscal year 16 and fiscal year 17 school years. We are pleased to say that we have survived the economic realities of 2008 or until now, or the last 7 years, by being fiscally disciplined and making sacrifices, all designed around educating our children. Now, with the economy recovering, we have to work with the legislature in developing a budget that is sustainable. More specifically, one that is built around revenues matching our expenditures, because that hasn't been our reality the last 7 years. We do all acknowledge the great work that is being done in our state to create economic diversification, with Tesla and others coming. As Pete noted yesterday at the joint meeting, we welcome and are excited about these opportunities. We also recognize that a vital part of economic diversification is investing in education, both K-12 and higher education, both from an operating and capital funding perspective, again echoing what Lindsay just presented to you. In terms of budget development for fiscal year 16, we start with an incremental development approach, or by looking at fiscal year 15 as our starting point. We are currently working with our leadership team members to look at budget efficiencies that they can create, as well as the budget needs that they have in each of their areas. Mike will take a few minutes with you to discuss the budget development process in greater detail, including a number of uncertainties that we need to get answers to as the governor continues this process with his State of the State address this Thursday, followed by the start of the 120-day legislative session starting on February 2nd. Mike will also walk you through the budget timeline to show you a map of where we're going, including our budget work session with you in March, where we will have a deep dive into the budget with the board, Interim Superintendent Davis, and her leadership team. The deep dive will allow the board to see the pieces of the budget in a very detailed form, including staffing, strategic goals, and related processes. As a reminder of this process, we have the materials from last year as an example. So I think Mike brought his and I've got mine. So this is a very deep dive that we did with the existing board members that remember from last year, and this is kind of a summary version of that same binder. So for the new board members, if you'd like to get a copy of last year's, we can certainly make arrangements for you to get a copy of last year's. If not, you can wait till March and you're going to get something similar in March. But we will take a very deep dive for the board members that are here. I know Trustee Rogerio brought this up when we did the orientation with you, and she was very proud of the process that we went through, where you really got a chance to interact with us finance guys. You know, we really like that. But more importantly, I think you got to interact with each of the representatives of the leadership team and let them tell you a little bit about what they do and how their budget operates. So I think it's a very collaborative process. So we hope that you like it. It'll be the second year that we've done it in that type of format. It's also important to say that the development of the budget is a long process, given the uncertainties of a legislative session. We will do our best to build a budget based on what we learn between now and the end of the session, which won't be till early June. So with that, let me turn it over to Mike, and he'll walk you through the budget, and when we both finish, we'll certainly entertain any questions or comments that you have.
Thank you, Tom. For the record, I'm Mike Schroeder, the budget director for the district. Good afternoon, Trustee President Mayor, Interim Superintendent Davis, and fellow trustees. And congratulations to all the new members, Frankel and Taylor and Trustee Smith, on your elections and the re-election of you, Mr. Mayor. I've just kind of outlined one of our board policies that just briefly describes the board's interaction. Certainly you can modify that and be more interactive in the budget as we go about it. What we're really doing this year is really mirroring what we did last year. And the reason that's important is because we really blew it up and modified it quite a bit last year. And prior to that, it was a pretty high level presentation, departmental information, things like that. Weren't really clear in the budget. Past board members had asked for more clarification, so we expanded the way we did it. So we're going to do something similar to that, and we'll provide a very high level view that is necessary for the way we report to the Department of Taxation. But then we'll do a big dive into the departmental budgets, and what that really amounts to is breaking the budget down by what we call our executive leadership team members. Under each of those members are various departments. So we summarize it at each of those levels, then provide a summary of each department and school, and then get into each of the budgets that the departments and schools have access to, which would be salary and benefits and their operating budgets. When I say operating budget, I'm kind of referring to non-salary and benefits. So that's kind of the format we've used. That's not something you want to see, then you can talk about that today. That's the point of this item, to discuss our process and how you might want to see it. But it was a very good process last year, and it seemed like everybody thought it presented the information very well. What I'll do is get into the timeline, and because this is a legislative year, the board always wants a budget update, so it's been a common item for every board meeting. So every meeting we'll get up and talk about what's up on the budget, and a lot of it will mirror what Lindsay has to say with updates on the legislature, because there will be lots of changes, lots of things are happening. There's never enough detail in the presentations, and ultimately we have to glean through that and figure out what that impact is to our district. So think of it kind of as a puzzle that we don't have all the pieces yet, and as we get the pieces, we got to find out how they fit into our matrix, and hopefully we'll paint our budget picture by the time we get to the end of the process. But it'll be a moving target. There'll be things coming up. So right now we can't sit down and say this is it, because there's a lot of uncertainties. I've kind of listed some of those out, and Lindsay has talked about some of those in her presentation. We know coming into the year we're probably going to have a budget deficit. We started the current fiscal year with a $21 million deficit that was basically covered by using ending fund balance or savings. That really just rolls into next year. So that's the starting point. There's lots of other things that can change that, some things that can offset it. And the point of the budget workshop coming up in March, some of these questions will be answered at that point, and that's what we'll be presenting to you at that point. It'll be very similar to what we did prior. It'll tell you all our assumptions we're making going into the budget and how we're at the point where we're at. And as Tom had mentioned, right now we're gathering information from departments and schools. Excuse me. Everybody's looking through their budgets, trying to tie their budgets into our strategic plan, see what additional needs there may be for next year, see how we can possibly take care of those needs without increasing the budget by offsetting it with other reductions. So that's a process we're going through right then. That'll be summarized by the time we get to the March board meeting. So those are things that are happening right now. The biggest step next is the governor's State of the State address. He'll talk a lot about the budget, but it's still really at a very high level, and there's a lot of detail to be worked out there. We do our best to try to talk to the state budget office and people at Legislative Council Bureau and Department of Ed to decipher what those details are and how they may impact us. But that will be an ongoing process. The governor's speech is just the start of that, and doesn't mean everything the governor says always gets approved either. And lots of changes can be made along the way. So then the legislature sessions, I'm just kind of going down the list. These are kind of key important dates for the timeline. Legislature begins on February 2nd. And as I said before, we have a standing board item to talk about the budget. So that's kind of littered throughout this timeline. Every board meeting will be up here giving you a budget update. The Department of Taxation provides us information. We use that information to build our budget. Their first report, they do a preliminary one on February 1st. The next one is March 1st. And it gives us some information regarding sales tax and government service tax. But the most important one really is property tax. And we don't really get a final one on that till about the end of March. And that's where State Department of Taxation certifies our ad valorem tax. And what happens is, you know, I got my assessed value and it went up quite a bit. But there's a cap on how much it can go up for commercial versus residential properties. There's also centrally assessed properties that the state kind of puts together that aren't part of what the assessor does. So until we get that, we don't really know exactly where we'll be, but we can probably make a pretty good guess. The big thing will be the March 5th and 6th workshop. It's a 2-day thing. There's a lot of budget information, and it's very detailed. We get into a lot of the detail, and we'll kind of take you step by step through that so you really understand what we're presenting there and what changes we made from the fiscal year 15 budget going into fiscal year 16. The requirement by law is that we only have to have one public meeting, and that's we have to have a hearing on the tentative budget, and that's the third Wednesday in May. That's the only requirement by law. In the past, we've always tried to fit in some town hall meetings, things like that. Last year is the second year of the biennium. Everything's kind of set. This first year of the biennium, there's so many unknowns. We don't really know until things are happening. We would probably suggest we have these town halls, but the exact content of those, it may just be presenting the budget, it may just be presenting what the legislature is talking about. And now is the time for our voice to be heard at the legislature, because once they establish and pass their laws, they basically determine our fate as far as our finances go. They're going to establish our per pupil amount. They're going to establish what other state special appropriations they may or may not make. Right now there's full day K, kindergarten class size reduction, things of that nature. The kindergarten class size reduction, we have a waiver on class size right now. That's due to sunset on June 30th of 2015. That may be reinstated, which could impact our budget depending on how it's handled and how the numbers work out. So that's just one of the uncertainties. So as those pieces and factors become known, we'll update you and we'll see how they work into the budget. But that is the main date for a public hearing. But we haven't set dates. If you want those dates, well, we can talk about that today, and we can also talk about it in other budget updates. After that, when we have to file a tentative budget by April 15th, and our board policy is to bring that budget to you and have you approve it. The law does not require you to approve the tentative budget. That's our own board policy. So in order to meet that deadline, there's a board meeting, I believe, on April 14th. So that would be the point where you approve the tentative budget. And really what that's going to amount to is it's just extremely tentative. We won't really even know where we're going to be at that point, typically because the state and the legislature hasn't finished all their work. Typically, they don't finish that till the last day of the legislative session or go into a special session. So that tentative budget, just to let you know right now, it will probably be very tentative. We'll know a lot more, but you'll know kind of where we stand and what our situation is. Even when we get to the hearing on the tentative budget, third Wednesday of May, it's probably still going to be very tentative. I don't think a lot will happen between that date to tell us where we're going to be. If it does, we'll certainly let you know, and we will update you at that point in time. The good thing about this, we have to file a final budget by June 8th, and that's by law. So the first board meeting prior to that, I believe, is May 26th, which is several weeks in advance. We may get to the we may just approve a final budget at the hearing on the tentative budget because we won't know enough. But the good thing is that once the legislature ends, we have 30 days to file an amended final budget. And at that point in time, we'll know what our per pupil funding is. Hopefully we'll know details if any new programs are proposed or state special appropriations, things of that nature. So we'll bring those forward to you at that point in time and say this is how it impacts us, and we'll include those things in the budget to the best of our knowledge. So that's kind of the process and the timeline right now. So I welcome any questions any of you may have on that.
Okay. You know, I was very proud of all you guys that made the presentation yesterday, the joint meeting.
Yeah.
In talking to some of the other public officials after that meeting, and in fact, I received a couple phone calls. They thought the school district did an outstanding job. You were well prepared and your materials were excellent. And I'm speaking for myself now, but I really appreciate the town hall meetings. I know You know, if it weren't for staff, it'd be me and another guy. And but the idea is they have the opportunity to give input, and to take that opportunity away from them, even though, you know, like you say, last year was not as probably tense as this year's going to be, but to take that opportunity away from them, I think it'd be a mistake. And how you did it last year, you had two in different sections of the town, and it was tremendous. And you'll probably need 3 this year because of the legislative session, but very nicely done. We'll go around if anybody have anything to say. We don't have to accept a report or anything, do we? It's just, this is just
for discussion and
for discussion
feedback.
only and feedback. Okay. Mr. Smith.
I have no feedback.
Thank you.
I have a question and a comment. I want to echo what President Mayer said about yesterday. I was very, very proud. I mean, I've only been a board member for about 3 minutes, but I was just proud of the presentation and the answering of the questions and the information that was put forth. I was really proud. So you made us look good. My question, Mike, for you is on the town hall meetings. Just help me understand. It says April 1st through May 15th, and there's a comma 2/15. Just help me understand what that means. Just on the dates, just clarification.
Oh, that's probably 2015. That little dash probably should have been a 0.
Oh, I
so it's roughly to say between that time frame was probably when we would have these town hall meetings.
Yeah, no, I get it now that I know it's a 0. Yeah, I didn't know what year that was, so thank you.
That 0 is real close to that slash. You know.
I get it. No, thank you. That's great.
That's a warning to the rest of you staff members. She looks over her agenda. Very nice. Dr. McCleary?
Yeah, I would like to also agree with both of you, all of you really, about the competency of the budget and the financial division. Pretty remarkable. Once again, when we received that Nevada Taxpayers Award for transparency and openness in the process. However, some of the comments made yesterday at the joint meeting talk continually about ongoing education for everyone to fully appreciate and understand exactly what we do. And I think that we're doing a great service in relationship to that, to the community. Last time we held a budget meeting at Hug High School, we had probably 50 or 60 people up there.
That was great.
So, I mean, those town halls, I know they're difficult to do, but they've been done well, and that's one of the reasons we won that Nevada Taxpayers Award, is because we opened up our processes. And I don't know that everyone fully understands nor appreciates the checkbook and all of the changes that we've made. So hopefully at some point we'll be able to talk with those individuals again from the Nevada Taxpayers Association to let them know how much we have improved our process. Thank you.
Trustee Rosenberg? Trustee Frankel?
At risk of repeating, and I really have been a trustee for only 3 minutes. I was very proud of our team yesterday, and I think it's very important that we continue to tell that story in as many different opportunities as we can find. And I agree that the town hall forum approach is a very good idea. The one question I have, or one of the questions I have, has to do with, and knowing the legislature from my background and work with the legislature for many years, the possibility that all these dates might change in light of potential for an extension in light of budget. The budget sometimes leads the legislature to extend their time. Are we allowed to extend our 30 days after the close of the legislative session if that changes? And the other question I have is, how much opportunity will we have after the legislative session adjourns, to go back out and have conversations with the community? Because I imagine there's going to be a lot of things that are going to remain unknown and really change between our tentative budget and what we get back from the legislature at the end of the legislative session, if I'm being clear. So is there an opportunity anywhere in there to have any kind of public exchange or communication?
Well, we don't get to extend our 30 days, so once the special session or the regular session ends, it would be after that.
Okay.
So the clock starts ticking once the session ends. Yeah.
And most of it's usually boils down to per pupil funding, things like that, and we kind of get a pretty good sense of that and how it would impact our budget. And typically, if we're just flush with cash, which I doubt we're going to be, but then, we can have some options there to say what we might want to do with it. But a lot of the stuff that we really don't know the details of are really like full-day kindergarten expansion, Zoom schools. When they put in some new special type of state special appropriation, those details, we don't have those at that point in time. I mean, we didn't really find out our number of full-day K teachers this year till a month after we started school. And we've been asking that for a year. So anyway, things like that, we try to do the best we can to get it out, and they might get it out, but by the time we meet our 30-day thing, it's like, okay, we got that information after that date, and now we're trying to implement. And those things, typically those things are specific dollars for specific purposes, so there's no leeway on how we could spend them. But certainly if there were, that would be something that we could say, well, we have the funding. If we don't agree on how we're supposed to spend it, or there's flexibility or options, then we can certainly bring it back to the board and talk about it.
Okay. Logan? Any more questions? Very good. Very nicely done.
Can I just add, we appreciate all the compliments about all the joint meetings yesterday. I really, and I saw Pete earlier yesterday.
Back there, I hope he heard.
Still hiding here. So I really compliment Pete for his.
He's right back there. Oh.
I really compliment Pete for his presentation yesterday with the support of Lindsay, and I think the key for
You're gonna want a raise if you keep going like this.
What I was going to say is I think the key to any of those presentations is the collaboration. I think under Interim Superintendent Davis, it's all about the team and working together as a team and making sure that they have the information they need to do those presentations, and getting that information from their own shops as well as working with us. And we appreciate the collaboration with all the departments in terms of building the budget. We can't do it by ourselves. It's a team effort.
Yeah, it's a pretty big job.
Yeah.
And really, I got compliments. The 2 calls that I got were on your open checkbook. They went home, and they got on the online and they checked it out. And one of the people told me that I checked my school in my neighborhood, and what a thorough job. I could even find out how much was spent on a field trip by the second graders, and they were just so appreciative of that. And I'm waiting to see our rollout in February, because I'm sure it's going to be a great job too.
We appreciate it, and we continue to build on. I know Pete's got the rollout of what he's working on, and we're working on the interactive budget, which I know is near and dear to your heart. Yes. So we're trying to find the time to fit it all in. We'll get there.
Well,
be patient with us.
Those 3 together will be far and above anything that's necessary, so that when somebody on the golf course calls up or says you're not transparent, you can say phooey phooey, because you will, everything that you need to know is in there. Okay.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Right,
Thank you very much.
Is that a scientific term? Phooey, phooey.
Phooey, phooey, yes.
And his brother Louie.
Louie. I know.
All right. Next, we have, still we're not supposed to do awards till 4, so we have quite a bit of time for 701, Kristen McNeil and crew, on the discussion and potential approval of the top themes that resulted from the Smarter Regions community engagement process, and determine a new regional economic development brand vision for possible action.
Well, good afternoon. Newly elected President Mayor, congratulations.
Thank you.
Interim Superintendent Davis and members of the board, congratulations to all of you. This day's been long in coming, so thank you very much. Kristen McNeil, Chief of Staff, and today we are going to be presenting some information relegated to Smarter Regions. And as you all heard yesterday at the joint meeting, this was discussed in a positive effort to further economic development within our community. So today, if we go back a little bit in history, just to reorient you as to what Smarter Regions is all about. If you remember, back in 2012, Reno was selected as a Smarter Cities by IBM. And after hearing from over 100 community members, both from private and public sources, 5 clear recommendations from that report were developed. Change the mindset was number 1. Be one strong voice, number 2. Harness the data, which you heard a little bit about yesterday as well. Brand the vision, not the slogan, which we're going to talk about today. And investing in your people, which has to do with education and workforce development. Led by EDON, the cities of Reno and Sparks, the county, the school district, and the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority, they have come together to act on these recommendations. Then in April of 2014, at the first Leadership Summit, which was held with elected officials and CEOs of the city of Reno and Sparks, the county, EDON, and our school district. So since that time, many hours have been given and developed recommendations above, leading to recommendation number 4. So Ms. McKissick from the City of Reno today is going to go through the visioning process that some of you thankfully were involved with and developed, and many of you were placed into focus groups. So she's going to go through what that visioning process looked like, what those recommendations were, and you have in front of you, as well as within your board documents, the recommendations and the report. This was also sent at a superintendent's highlights back in November, but just so you all have a hard copy, and it's also one of your attachments. And the second item, 7.02, will probably take about 3 minutes because you're going to be informed of what that item is and leads into 7.02. So without further ado, Maureen.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to come before you this afternoon. I was at the Board of County Commissioners this morning, so you are the second meeting today. And thank you for allowing us to do this. To put a little bit of context around it, and for some of the new members, the IBM Smarter Cities Challenge came to the city of Reno. They finished, the team from IBM came here in February 2013, and really the rest of that year was spent in expanding the project. So it's now 11 agencies collaborating. The logos are on the PowerPoint. They're along the banner of the bottom of your PowerPoint. So we have all of the regional K-12, higher ed, public bodies, 2 private bodies, the Airport Authority. So quite a robust collaboration. And throughout most of 2014, I was one member of a 4-person team that went around the community soliciting input around an economic development vision. And so today's presentation is 12 slides to summarize that process. The bigger document that Kristen referenced is sort of the mother document from which this PowerPoint was taken. And I'm going to now attempt to move the slide. This one? Okay. So this was recommendation number 4, brand the vision, not the slogan. The team really felt that one of the cornerstones for our economic development would be an economic identity. You know, throughout most of the 20th century, that identity centered on gaming, on tourism. Now for the 21st century, we've diversified, we've broadened, we have some new identities we need to reference, but we needed to articulate what that was. So really, this was an effort to undertake that. At the bottom of the slide are some of the observations the team made almost 2 years ago. These were sort of the top of mind things that rose up during the course of their interviews. So this was the direction that we received last April. We had brought the first phase of the implementation back to the elected boards, described a little bit what we had found when we began to interact with the community. Our recommendation at that point was that we should really work solely with people who understood economic development in a day-to-day sense. When we went into some broader groups, the reactions and the information we got were a little mixed. So we did get direction to focus on community members and organizations with specific knowledge, and we received 2 new pieces of direction. One was that they wanted all of the elected persons in the county to be consulted in this process. The second one was that they wanted us to focus on members of Gen Y. loosely people who are 35 years of age or younger. So they wanted that demographic to be part of the process. We took that direction and we expanded on it, kind of in a spirit of thoroughness and inclusiveness. We added more groups. I have to give a shout out to EDON at this point. They were our good right arm in organizing the two bullets on the lower part of the slide. Presidents and CEOs of major employers who had either relocated here or expanded here in the last 2 years. We really felt that we wanted to hear what they had seen in this community that made them believe it would be a prudent investment. And then lastly, we sampled the entrepreneurs. This is kind of a rising industrial strength. We felt it would be wise to include them in the conversation as well. These were very robust meetings, and candidates running for elected office, which is how I met several of you. And I have to give a shout out to this board. Of all of the boards that we interviewed, we had the highest % participation from the trustees. So thank you very much. So here's a quick snapshot of all of the groups that were sampled. There's 9 of them, and they kind of roughly go in chronological order. Almost 200 people were involved in this process, but these were their affiliations. Here's a snapshot of the process itself. It took about 10 months to complete. We used small group facilitation. This would be as opposed to online surveying or paper surveying. We used a verbal questionnaire that had 3 compound questions, which are on the next slide. In terms of participants, I think the key point is that the majority were in the private sector. That mattered quite a bit, I think, in terms of the quality of what we received. And then the product of that engagement was the white paper that Kristen referenced before, which gives you sort of the entire process from soup to nuts. These are the 3 questions that we asked. I know they may be a little bit difficult to read. Really, it was first, what do we have today that is an asset? What is working? And then we had the subparts of that question were meant to prompt discussion. Secondly, what do we have today that isn't working? What do we need to improve? And third, last, what do we want to be when we grow up? I mean, what do we want to aspire to? So here are the responses to those. And they are in bulleted format. They're not, using numbers. They're not in any ordinal organization. These are the 5 that were the top findings from all the groups that we interviewed. By geographic location, they mean we are farther west than Los Angeles, north of San Francisco. We are on the eastern edge of what's known as the mega region that incorporates a huge swath of Northern California. Interestingly, a few of these findings are consistent with what the team found earlier, almost 2 years earlier, in terms of having a university or quality of life. What needed to be improved? We had 3 top findings. I thought of this yesterday at the joint meeting. The private sector definitely sees having a qualified, skilled workforce as critical to our economic future. They wanted to continue improving transportation infrastructure, and everybody was unanimous in thinking we needed to improve downtown Reno, although there was quite a bit of divergence as to what that actually looked like. Gen Y had a different version of what improvements looked like than some of the CEOs, so that was interesting. So for the results of what do we want to aspire to, there were 6 findings. In general, they built upon quality of life. Many people saw as a real community value the idea of continuing our pioneer heritage, that this was a place you came to begin a new life. You had a land of opportunity, a wide open kind of blue sky experience, maybe now a virtual experience as opposed to a physical one, but they really felt that that was part of our identity they wanted to build on. So here is the next group, the last slide of 4, state-of-the-art technology. Once again, a high-quality, educated workforce aligned to the industrial sectors, and having a university affiliation, that being a knowledge-based economy was an important value. So we are taking this to all of the elected boards this month during January. We're doing a presentation of the top findings. This morning at the Board of County Commissioners, Commissioner Lucy, who is newly elected and, as he pointed out, a member of Gen Y, is going to be part of a panel we're putting together. Regent Geddes from the Nevada System of Higher Education will be. We would like to put together a very small, very brief, maybe 1 or 2 meetings at most, subcommittee of policymakers with key staff to complete the formulation of a brand vision statement. And this is the next item on your agenda. We are asking each body to appoint 1 member and 1 alternate to that very short-term subcommittee. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, very good presentation and very good work. I think this has been needed for a long time, to get into a region instead of political entities. I think it's needed, and with the development of Reno Tahoe Industrial Park, it's even more complex because that's going to affect all the way to Yerington for housing and schools. So I think it's really a great opportunity for us, and a great presentation. We'll go around and see if there are any questions. Mr. Smith?
I thought it was a good report. Give us some direction. I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
One good.
Echo. Ditto.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a great project and one that's, like you, been long overdue.
This is probably the wrong time. I'm dying to know what Gen Y wants.
Gen Y, many Gen Y members actually want to live and work in an urban environment. That to them is, that's a very desirable lifestyle. This is not a group that is looking for a single-family residence with 2 cars. They really enjoy a more urban lifestyle. They want to be downtown. They urged us to make improvements to it, but not to gentrify it too much. So that, and frequently from a different generation, we hear, cleanup, vacant properties, a kind of an emphasis on what Gen Y did not see that completely in that light. They kind of think that having a lot of diversity and different types of non-gentrification contribute to the character. So they wanted us to take care in how that redevelopment went.
Great.
I just want to say thank you, and I want to commend the team for a very participatory and lengthy process. I was familiar with it when it started a long time ago, so I think it's been a great amount of work, and it's a good report. I also am not surprised to see that education in the workforce, quality of the workforce, has emerged over and over again, and I'm pleased to see it.
Yes, that actually came out loud and clear from the 2 groups that EDON organized. They both expressed some difficulties they had in getting the workforce they needed here in the area. That was the first we had learned of that. They emphasized that quite a bit, talked about what they thought would be coming up, really wanted that to be high on the radar screen.
Okay, we have, go around a second time.
I'm sorry, I do have just one question. Did the issue of diversity come up at all? You mentioned it with Gen Y in terms of downtown, but in any other manner?
Yes, that arose from some of the elected officials more than the private sector, a desire for that to be part of the lens through which we looked at what happened next, that was really a goal. So yes, that did come up.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
The chair entertained a motion to accept this report, and I think, isn't there more to that? Isn't there?
You want us to appoint
You want
someone?
us to accept,
The top
approve
themes.
the general themes, is
Right.
that not correct?
Correct.
So is there a motion on that?
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any public comment? Yes. No public comment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same signal. So carried. And you're here for 7:02?
I am, thank you.
Okay, let's go into that because we still got time.
Should be pretty quick.
Well, I think there's somebody that I'd like to see on this committee, so I think it'll be quick too. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So the previous item that you had just heard, what we're looking for is for the board to appoint a member and an alternate to serve on the visioning subcommittee. That's it.
Let's do this volunteer. Is there anybody who wants to volunteer for this? Okay. Veronica. Okay. Veronica is going to be our primary, and Professor Rosenberg's going to be our alternate, because when he comes to your meeting, he can be two of those Generation Ys. All right. Is that all right with everybody? We'll have.
I think we should do a motion.
Okay.
I move that Trustee Frankel be appointed as our primary and that Trustee Rosenberg be our alternate.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much.
Great job. Great job. Great job.
And now it's not 4 o'clock yet.
Board reports.
And
Take a 5-minute break.
5-minute break.
Would you like a break? Okay, let's take a 5-minute break, and we'll come back with our board reports and report of the superintendent, and then the presentation of awards. And 802 and go into items 901 and beyond. Okay? And first off, we have a class act by Tiffany McMasters, principal of Westergaard Elementary School, and Miss Castro, the assistant branch manager. Nice to see you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Interim Superintendent Davis, newly elected President, Mayor, and members of the board. It's my honor to talk about one of the wonderful Westergaard students. We have many great students, but this is a student that has exhibited some great behaviors in our school, always has a very positive attitude, works very hard at school. She's the one that on the playground, if somebody gets hurt, she's the caring figure that goes up to that child and takes them to the nurse. She's always rooting for the underdog, and not only does she do this in my school, but she takes this out into the community. She has volunteered in various aspects throughout our community. She's a Girl Scout. She's volunteered with the Ronald McDonald House, and I'm not going to say a whole lot about that because one of the things you'll find about her is she's very articulate as well, so I will let her speak to that. This is Priyasha Landry.
Maybe she could come and sit down and have
Oh my God. Darling.
This is wonderful.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Priyasha and I'm 8 years old. First, I'd like to thank my principal, my family, and especially my mom for supporting me in all my efforts. I'm honored to be here today. To me, it's not very important to be recognized as much. I love helping the community. My mom is now a proud American, but she was born and raised in South Africa. She spent most of her days giving back for those in need. She's now teaching my brother and I to give back. I've done lots of different things to help the community, and I've got my Girl Scout troop to help with some of the projects, like helping the Ronald McDonald House with food. I helped Evelyn Mount collect food by door knocking on a cold day, and I led a penny drive at Westergaard with my principal's permission. I enjoyed making ornaments for the seniors, and singing Christmas carols was my favorite part. I sewed cat beds, and I'm going to make dog treats for our little furry friends at the animal shelter. This year's my goal is to make 300 pillowcases for the sick kids in the hospital. I think it would make them feel more comfortable. I call my project Cases of Love because my name means loved one. I may be small, but every little thing I do makes a difference to that person. Just keep in mind there's always someone else that's fighting a harder battle than you. So I always try my best to be nice to others, and even try my best to be nice to others, even if it's just a simple smile. Thanks again for this opportunity and inviting me.
Now, don't run off. Don't run off. Don't run off. Stand right there. You're a third grader at Westergaard, and you did all those things, plus you studied?
Yes.
Oh, and you know, you look so nice. I love the hairpiece that you have on your head. You look just like a fashionista. You know, you just look so nice. Do you dress like that all the time, or was this a special occasion?
So-and-so.
So-and-so. You are going to go places.
Yes.
You are going to go places. Now, we have a proclamation about you, and our new trustee, Nick Smith, who's brand new, and he had just had 2 boys in here that had vests on and ties, and they look sharp too, so he's used to sharp kids. So he's going to read a proclamation for you. Okay?
Okay.
Here he is, right here.
Okay. Resolution by the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees. Whereas KRNV TV Channel 4, the United Federal Credit Union, and the Reno Aces have honored Priyasha Landry as a Class Act Award winner. Whereas the Class Act Award recognizes outstanding students in Northern Nevada. Whereas award winners are positive role models at school, at home, or in their community, and often go unrecognized and unrewarded. Whereas Priyasha, who is very active in her class at Westergaard Elementary School, donated many hours of her time to sew pillowcases for other children in need. Whereas Priyasha, who loves to visit with her great-grandmother while sitting on her lap when she visits her on the East Coast, was busy this past holiday season making ornaments to hand out to the senior citizens in her community after spending an afternoon singing Christmas carols to them. And whereas thousands of Washoe County students exhibit dedication, hard work, positive attitudes, and community involvement, however, Priyasha Landry stands out as an outstanding student. Now therefore, in consideration of the above, the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees does hereby recognize Priyasha Landry of Westergaard Elementary School as Class Act Award winner, dated this 13th day of January, 2015. Congratulations.
And do you have somebody here that you would like to introduce, like mama and dad or grandma or anybody? Introduce them for us.
I'd like to introduce my mom.
Great.
Her name is Esprit.
Esprit?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Thank you. And now, is it all right if we take a picture with you and your family?
And I'd like to introduce my dad.
Oh. Oh.
And my brother.
Oh, your brother's here too?
Yeah.
All right.
And my brother also got the Class Act Award.
Oh, great. And is that it? Yes. Because we're going to have a photograph, okay? Photographer.
Let's kind of center up.
Huh? Oh, how cute is that? Now this applause is for you. That was wonderful.
Wonderful.
Love it.
Okay, yes it does. Our next one is Mrs. Castro and Bob Sullivan, principal of AACT High School.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees. My name is Maite Castro, and I'm with United Federal Credit Union. And I would like to present Robert Sullivan, who is the principal of the Academy of Arts, Careers, and Technology School, also known as ACT.
Good afternoon. President Mayer, Interim Superintendent Davis, Board of Trustees. It is always a privilege and an honor to have the opportunity to be here, and especially when we're recognizing outstanding young people like we just had. And in my case, the ability or the opportunity here today to speak on behalf and for the Board of Trustees and those in the Reno community to recognize an outstanding educator. Mrs. Jamie Vaughn is a social studies teacher at the Academy. She has worked diligently in the 3 years that we have been together with the other members of our social studies department to increase the course offerings. And now that we have United States History Advanced Placement and United States Government Advanced Placement, we have grown, or she has, along with the staff, grown the population and the participation in our advanced placement courses in that social studies piece. So it is a great honor, and it's a great compliment to her and what she has done in her relationship with the students. Because again, probably, if any of you are aware of it, the U.S. History AP is the most difficult advanced placement course that is offered by the College Board. And I can take that as experience over 17, 18 years as a principal from the parents that give me phone calls in regards to that course and the demand that the teachers place on them. But it is, and what a wonderful thing for her to take on this challenge. But I think the piece where she is recognized here today is that a number of you may have had the opportunity to visit the Academy and be a part of our service learning component and to see our students when they present their service learning project, and then ultimately in their senior year they complete it with their capstone project. So this is the gateway to begin this. Even though they do start in their freshman year with service hours, this is the gateway to get to that capstone project, which many of them do. Jamie moderates it, coordinates it, encourages the students, comes after all of us who are the advisors of these students. And when you have the opportunity to listen to them present and the work that they have to do in their binder and all of that, and then the amount of hours and the impact that it makes on the community, I'm so very proud that this is one of the components that has been established at the Academy and one that we will continue. So enough of me. It is my honor to introduce to you, Board, Mrs. Jamie Vaughn.
Should I just start?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. That's a hard act to follow.
Yeah, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, it is. I have this whole speech all written out, and I'm not really one to toot my own horn, but I would like to thank, first of all, Mr. Sullivan for being an amazing administrator, and I think that's very helpful in me being the teacher that I am, and my parents, Pete and Marilyn Allen in the back, and my husband Farrell Vaughn. My parents have always been advocates of education. I was always pushed by them. I didn't really have amazing teachers when I was younger. I had one. She was an algebra teacher, and she pushed me to the limit, and that's what I do remember. So I'm honored to be a teacher, and I don't think it's just being a social studies teacher with the service learning piece. They really do go hand in hand. Because I am able to really build a rapport with my kids, which helps me push them to do things that they probably didn't ever think that they could do. And I know that you were in our service learning presentations, and they're amazing. We can help them understand why it is that they are doing the project in the first place. They can connect it to history, to math, and any of their academics or their academies. So I just want to thank my parents and my husband and Mr. Sullivan and all the other teachers at our school, because we really do have amazing teachers at our school. So this award is for them too. So I guess that's what I want to say.
Thank you very much. And I've yes. And if you have never been out there, I urge you to call. I went out, one of the young ladies on our student advisory board was giving her project, her and her partner, and she invited me out to see it. And I went out, and it was terrific. It just put a smile on my face to think that these are our future, and our future is in good hands. Our future is in good hands. And I enjoyed it so much that they had another one followed the student on our advisory board, and I'm sitting there because I wanted to see the next one, and everybody said, "You can leave now." And I says, "Oh no, I can't," because they are so well put together. I mean, you can really enjoy a visit out there, so I recommend it. And we have a proclamation. Veronica has a proclamation.
It's my honor to read it. A resolution by the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees. Whereas KRNV-TV, Channel 4, the United Federal Credit Union, and the Reno Aces have honored Jamie Vaughn as an Excellence in Education recipient. Whereas teachers are the cornerstone of the Washoe County School District's mission. Whereas Jamie Allen Vaughn's Facebook page received many positive comments after former school board member Scott Kelly posted, in part, quote, "I have visited hundreds of classrooms and seen many teachers in action, and Jamie is one of the best teachers I have ever seen. Her abilities to inspire and prepare her students are top-notch. She is a true WCSD asset." Whereas over 30 people liked the post, and comments included, "My daughter had her for a teacher and I couldn't agree more. She is amazing at what she does. She was my lead teacher, exclamation point, exclamation point. I was truly blessed to have her in my classroom. Agree, I have known her for many years. She has always had a heart of gold." There's multiple exclamation points after all of these, I have to say. "I have known her for quite some time also, and I could not agree more. Jamie works hard to be the best." And whereas excellence in classroom instruction and thoughtfulness towards students and their families should be recognized and valued throughout the community, now therefore, in consideration of the above, the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees does hereby recognize Jamie Vaughn from the Academy of Arts, Careers, and Technology, Excellence in Education winner.
Do you have some people that you would like to join in the photo?
Yes, I'd like my parents and my husband.
Oh, under the banner. Yes, crowded. I'm tall.
They're having a meeting in the car something else.
All right,
Congratulations again, and it's so nice to see parents come out, because sometimes you're judged by the offspring you raise. So you're an A+. All right. Thank you too, Mr. Sullivan, for that wonderful presentation. And now we're going to go to Exceptional Substitute of the Semester, Dolores Harper and Catherine Betts.
We're from Sparks High School, and we are so proud to present this to Janie Homer, the Exceptional Substitute of the Semester Award. And I would just like to say a few personal comments about her. She's been a substitute at Sparks High School for a number of years, but it's only recently that I've had the pleasure of really getting to know her. She was hired as our TIF 4 permanent sub at the beginning of this year, which means she rotates every 4 weeks into the master and mentor teachers' classrooms. Dolores and I are both mentor teachers under the TIF 4 grant, and she's always available to cover for one of us if the necessity arises. So she really is multifunctional within our building. I was amazed that within a week or so she knew all of my students' names, even when I didn't. She stands at the door with me and greets them all with a smile. She helps me organize my room. She helps my students individually with work. She fills in when I need to go help another staff member, either a new teacher or mentor an existing veteran teacher. She takes roll. She grades papers. Basically, she does whatever we need her to do, and she does all this with such grace and a smile and such a positive attitude, and I want to clone her every day. Teachers are known to be very territorial, and it's hard for me to have someone else in my room on a regular basis, and I wasn't sure how this arrangement might work, but when I know Janie will be with me for the week, I give a sigh of relief. I'm so happy to share my space with her. I've heard many students say, yes, Mrs. Homer is with us today, which I think is the greatest compliment of all. They love her. We're so fortunate to have her at Sparks High, and I feel fortunate to know her as my colleague and as my friend. Thank you.
Wonderful.
It won't take long. I'm Dolores Harper. Somebody said, people as teachers, we hear a lot of people from the community, friends and family, that say, wow, it must take guts to be a teacher. And I said, yeah, maybe, but I think it takes guts to be a substitute teacher. And having Janie Homer in a classroom, like Catherine said, has just been amazing. And what I feel that Janie gets this award for is because, in addition to having guts, she has heart. So, wonderful.
Hi.
Hi.
Glad to have you, and you be recognized for your wonderful work at Sparks High.
Thank you.
You have anything you'd like to say?
I'd like to say thank you. I didn't even know there was a award of the semester, whatever it was. So it's a total surprise to me. I didn't prepare a speech, but I'd just like to tell you how much I enjoy working with the students at not only Sparks High. I until this year substituted in many of the schools in the district, and I enjoy working with kids. I admire the teachers, admire the principals, those that work with them on a daily basis, and grateful for the time that the board puts into looking after their needs and making sure that our teachers and students have what they need so that they can learn together. And I appreciate that very much.
You know, we appreciate you, and we appreciate the teacher before, and we appreciate the student, because this is Washoe County School District. And the people that throw rocks and criticism, they should come out and spend even a half an hour in some of these schools and see what fabulous wands you guys wave over the students. You are WCSD, and you do an outstanding job, and we're proud to have all three of you represent us daily. Thank you for what you do for kids. And with that, Howard Rosenberg has a nice plaque for you.
Thank you.
It's all engraved in. I thought it was a new ring.
Oh.
But it's a plaque. Well, we couldn't. No, let's not do that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Appreciate that. Very nice.
Do you have anyone that you'd like to introduce?
This is my husband, Don Homer.
Taking pictures.
He
You know, don't sit down yet. You got to have a picture here. Did you have some family you wanted to introduce?
Brought my husband.
Just?
We got a huge family, but then it filled the room.
Oh, okay. And I noticed the principal there, Mr. Carroll, is the principal of Sparks High, and they had a little incident there yesterday that he handled beautifully. Beautifully.
All right, big smile.
Excellent. Again, thank you to all three of our award winners and the presenters. That's just marvelous to see. Next, we have a proclamation for the Martin Luther King Jr. observance, and it doesn't say who's going to present this. Oh, Tiffany Young. All right, there it is, right there.
Good afternoon. I would like to say welcome to our new trustees to the Washoe County School District Board. So it is nice to see new faces, and we miss old faces as well, so welcome here today. We have, on behalf of our recognition for our Dr. King recognition that the board does, is a couple of presentations we have today. I'd like to introduce Tori Thompson, who is with he is the State Diversity Coordinator for the Nevada National Guard, and also Marcia Dupree, who is with the Northern Nevada Black Cultural Awareness. Is George here? Oh, I'm sorry. And George Hardaway, who is with the Northern Nevada Black Cultural Awareness Society. In efforts to continue our community collaboration and our partnerships, we partner for the essay contest that we have students representing here today. So we have 3 of the 4 essay winners who will read a very short sentence from each one of their essays, and so we will acknowledge them as well as their families, and we will give Mr. Thompson and Mr. Hardaway a very brief moment to share a few words.
Excellent, excellent. By the way, I have my ticket. See, right there. I think, okay.
Good afternoon.
Good
Interim
afternoon.
Superintendent Tracy Davis, President Myers, and the rest of the trustee board. It is indeed a pleasure to continue this partnership. We have been in collaboration for 27 years. You have been a great supporter of our initiative to help with literacy in the Washoe County School District. We will continue to be that beacon of light. As you have already experienced tonight, we have some outstanding and wonderful and intelligent and articulate young people in our district. And we want to continue to have this partnership and this collaboration with the Washoe County School District so we can continue to put our students first. With that, I would like to say once again, this essay contest means a lot to us. Again, we have had Dr. Andrew Taylor as one of the chairpersons in charge of our essay contest, and I followed her, and I tell you, it has been a great, great relationship with the Washoe County School District, and we look forward to this continuation of great, great partnership and the relationship. So thank you very much. And at this point, we will recognize the students. Okay, yes, we have Mr. Thompson.
Sergeant Thompson. Sorry. Everybody else. Thank you for allowing us to be here. I'm here today on behalf of the Nevada Air National Guard and Brigadier General William Burks. We just want to say thank you to the community. Thank you, board members. Thank you, Superintendent. It's a pleasure for us to partner with NEPCIS and continue to create a place where the youth in the community can be recognized for their efforts and showcase their educational foundation that they've gained in the Washoe County School District. We appreciate that you are creating a foundation for us to go and get our future leaders from. So with the Nevada Air National Guard, we take our hats off to you, and we salute you for all of your efforts, especially the students and this young lady right here. I would love to take you to work with me and have her motivate some of our airmen and soldiers out there today. So congratulations to you again, and Ms. Young.
You know, before you cut him off, the National Guard is the sponsor for this essay contest, and they give the awards and everything. And I know you're only going to have them read a sentence, but if you go to the dinner, the whole essay is published in the program, and it's well worth looking. And you can get your tickets anywhere.
I have some tickets for those that may. I'm just saying.
And but what I really want to tell you is, it's been quite a few years ago. Students at Kate Smith Elementary School in Sparks won your award in the elementary, and I ran into him on a trip to the Bay Area, and he is working in a computer industry in Silicon Valley, and he had a heartful story to tell when he won the award. And you guys, you turned him around, and now he's very, very successful. So thank you for your program. Thank you for your program on behalf of those kids that you have helped.
And thank you. And President Mayor, just as a point of clarification, that the Nevada National Air Guard
yes, okay,
is a partner for the scholarship, so they don't necessarily fully sponsor, but they are a partner in this collaboration. So we just want to make sure that we have that on record. Okay. So as President Mayor mentioned, on Monday is the 27th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dinner that is sponsored by the Northern Nevada Black Cultural Awareness Society. At that dinner, our essay contest winners will be presented awards for their contribution to this process. The theme for the essay contest this year was Why We Are Better Together, and the objective was for them to explain why. This year, they gave out 4 essay contest winner scholarships, 1 elementary, 1 middle school, 1 high school, and 1 college student here at the University of Nevada, Reno. Today we have 3 of those representatives here. Our college student is still on break, so she will be at the dinner on Monday. So I would like to first present to you our elementary school winner, Miss Ava Helling.
Hello, my name is Ava Helling, and I'm in 4th grade. I go to Hoffaker Elementary, and my teacher is Mrs. Schweppe. To continue the dream, you need to reach out and meet new people. After school, go study with a friend if you have a test. When we are together, we are better at school, home, at work, and doing anything everywhere.
That's marvelous. And so she was the winner of many elementary kids.
Yes, so Ava is our elementary school winner,
terrific.
so congratulations to you.
Terrific, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Monday at the dinner.
Yes.
I won't share any of it with you, though. Thank you for
very
coming.
much, Ava. Thank you.
Does she have, I
We're gonna
imagine that
we're going to take a group picture when we get all done.
Oh, okay.
How about
But
that?
I wanted her to say, introduce her parents.
I have my dad and mom and Tony and my teacher, Mrs. Schweppe.
Oh, stand up or wave or something. Very nice, and you're wonderful. Wonderful.
Can I also add?
Sure.
Mrs. Schweppe is also a Master Sergeant in the Nevada Air National Guard.
Master Sergeant. She must be a heck of a teacher if she's a master sergeant.
So if you'd like to do separate pictures, or do you want to do a group picture?
Whatever you guys want.
Well, let's call our middle school recipient up, Mr. Jeffrey Grace.
Smile. we don't fight.
We don't fight. Yeah,
serious. All right, that's better. You should always smile because you have such a lovely smile.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me here. I am very honored to be here. I'm going to read you part of the essay that I wrote and entered into this contest. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream for all people to live, work, and achieve in harmony. Having an opportunity for equal education is a priority for achieving equality. We are better together today because many people have opportunities that they would not have had before civil rights. I am in 7th grade and I go to Shaw Middle School.
Excellent. And do you have some people here you'd like to introduce? Is that your little brother back there?
Yes, that is my little brother, and I have my mom and dad here with me.
Okay. Maybe they could give out a wave. He's taking your picture, and he's happy I made you smile.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey.
Congratulations on winning that.
Thank
That's
you.
wonderful.
And then next we have our high school recipient, Miss Samara Horsley.
Hello, my name is Samara Horsley. I'm a sophomore at Worcester High School. Yeah, and in the IB program. So, the statement, "We are better together," has held true in the past. There's no reason for it not to hold true in the present and in the future. With a united front, we are able to accomplish many things, and the burden of trying to make everything better alone is lifted.
Oh. So you go to school with Logan?
Yeah, you do. Okay.
Roosters? I mean Colts. Very good. That was excellent. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And did you want a group picture?
Yes, we do. And I just would like to again acknowledge our college winner is Miss Shayla Williams from the University of Nevada, Reno, and she's a sophomore. She's not here today, but I did want to mention her name.
And
so,
I
Samara,
forgot to
if you'd
have
like to
her
introduce your
introduce
family.
your family.
I have my sister, Alicia, and my two wonderful parents. Over.
Let's have a nice big group picture. You're going to have to squeeze in. We have proclamations.
And we'd like to ask Master Sergeant Kenny Dupree to come up and join as well from
Just
the
a
Nevada
second,
Air
we
Force.
have some proclamations.
Yes, we can read the proclamation now and then take the picture. I apologize.
Okay.
You're in charge. I'm just following the rules.
That is a very true statement.
This one time. You're in charge this one time.
That is a very true statement.
This one time.
You better be careful.
These are proclamations actually on behalf of the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees, certainly acknowledging the young people that have been recognized, but proclamations particularly for the Nevada Air National Guard, as well as the Northern Nevada Black Cultural Awareness Society, for continuing to put the program together to partner, to sponsor, in support of our kids. So same proclamation for both of you gentlemen. And it reads, whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., born on January 15th, 1929, was an African-American pastor, civil rights activist, and member of the Executive Committee of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or NAACP. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. changed our nation forever through his leadership, service, and clarity of vision. Whereas, in the brief time Dr. King walked upon this earth, he devoted his life to strengthening the content of the American character and called on our nation to live up to its founding principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all of its citizens. And whereas, through his determination, spirit, and resolve, Dr. King helped lift souls and lead one of the greatest movements for equality and freedom in history. Now, therefore, in consideration of the above, the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees does hereby recognize the work of Dr. King and celebrate January 19th, 2015 as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and its further wishes to honor the lasting legacy of this great American. Remember the ideals for which he fought, and encourage the students, parents, teachers, and all employees to live out his teachings as we continue to work for the day when the dignity and humanity of every person is respected. This is presented today to the Nevada Air National Guard and to the Northern Nevada Black Cultural Awareness Society in recognition of their 27th year of financial support for the NEPKIS Essay Contest winners. Dated this day, the 13th of January, 2015.
Group picture. Miss.
You don't have to move back? No. That way
Trying to get centered. Yeah, but there's no way to go around it. Yeah, we'll do one family at a time. Got it. All right, next one. Ready?
Thank you.
Ava, if you and your family want to come, and then we will have Debbie.
He's got a 6 o'clock. I know he does. I was surprised. Yeah. I'm gonna try to. I'd show you.
Thank you. You don't smile. You don't smile. You get to be in the picture. Let's let me try to scoot over a little bit. Check it out. All right, big stone. And then hold on. Thank you.
That's what it's all about, folks. That's what it's all about. And we're going to take a short recess and then go into board reports and let these lovely people exit out the exit door. Give a guy a hammer and he wants to make a house. All right, we'll go to board reports, which is 8:01. And I'll just go in the same order as we do the motions, all right? If that's all right with everyone? Okay, we'll start with our student representative. He probably been sleeping for 3 weeks since finals are over.
You know, we all had a 3-week break, but I did not have a 3-week consistent break because I worked. So it was more like 2 days, 3 days. So 3 weeks really got sent down the drain, and I'm not very happy about it.
You know, for doing as much as you do, IB program, school load, student advisory board and everything, you work on top of all that. You're a tremendous human being.
Yeah.
You are to be congratulated.
I like the paycheck, so I try to work around 12, 15 hours a week.
Good. Board report. I know you probably have something to report.
No, I don't know how relevant it is, but I was able to go see Lemelson Academy.
That's wonderful.
We all know about what happened there. What a fantastic team Chris Cobb had in place over there. I met the head lady in charge of, I think, the housekeeping, Michelle. Don't hold me to her last name, I can't remember, but I got to meet every district employee that was there that day and gave them a bag of Skittles and thank them for what they did. And it was really fun, and moved a few desks. I had a great time just hanging out and thanking them for what they do.
You know, that's wonderful. Thank you for doing that. That, you know, they're in there with the rottenest job in the world, cleaning up after a broken pipe and pulling up carpet and stuff like that. So thank you for going out and doing that. That's wonderful.
I went to Washoe. Myself and Trustee McClory went out and saw some of their presentations. I mean, what a wonderful job those students did. And it was Washoe and all that they do. It is not the old Washoe High School that it was a total paradigm shift. They do a tremendous job. The staff that is there was totally impressed. They're completely committed to the kids, to what they do, to making this a great experience for them, and making sure that they don't feel like, okay, great, now I'm at Washoe High School. I mean, those kids are doing some great things. Saw some great presentations, and I got a chance to ask them some questions. And of course, we ran into some of Barbara's old students out there, and but it was great. And it was them doing business as usual, which was good. You know, looking for a kid that they hadn't just seen. I mean, just doing what they did, and they welcomed us and really allowed us to come in. And at one point, we were having so much fun. They came out and said we were talking too loud. We were talking about what was going on there. So it was fantastic. So
you know,
great.
When you go into Washoe, I'll never call it Washoe. When you go into
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. We have innovations. I'm sorry. It has another name. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah.
Innovations. It's innovative too. So.
Yeah, but it's Washoe. It's turn around Washoe. But when you walk in and you see that angel,
yeah,
she's on our student advisory board, the girl that painted it, and you ought to hear her story and stuff. And Howard knows, because every time she sees Howard, she shows him her pictures on her camera, and just a marvelous young girl, and is turning her life completely around. But you saw the painting.
Well, I mean, it was right there, very prominent. But Innovations High School, they're doing tremendous work there. Yeah. They really are. So it was great to be there.
Any other thing?
No, that's all I got you.
Okay. Barbara?
Yes, that was a remarkable visit, and I made contact with Walton's Funeral Home about Savannah, who wanted to work in forensic science someday, and she wanted to work in a funeral home to get kind of acclimated to some of that. So I think we have that connection made, and we'll be able to work through that process for her.
Awesome. Wonderful.
I advised 5 students who graduated mid-year.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
That's
great.
2 of them I shanghaied into being art students. The other 3 I put into things that might earn them a living. It's sort of impressive. It really, really is. And I don't know whether it actually is impressive, or all of a sudden it's dawned on me what really is happening.
Yeah.
So you recognize it. This has been great.
And I want to just do a shout out to, at risk of getting Logan out of his chair, Worcester IB graduation was really a wonderful event to attend. To see that great group, who most of whom came back for the graduation ceremony, which was in December, and just how impressive their scores are compared to nationally. And we know so many of those students did exceptionally well as national merit finalists as well. So that was a wonderful experience. I think a number of us went to the Healthy Communities conference last week, and one of the things I think that really stood out for me was the notion of a healthy community and not just healthcare, and a healthy community has to be an educated one. And I look forward to seeing the work from that group moving forward. I also want to mention an upcoming conference call that I'm going to be a part of with the Nevada Association of School Boards. I don't know if this is the right moment to mention that.
No, that's fine.
On the school land trust issue that was brought up at the Henderson annual conference. So I'm going to be a part of that conference call next week, and I'll bring future reports back. And I also want to do a shout out to our team here, both at the district, Catherine Ludon's team, as well as the team at DePauli, for dealing so well with the tragedy of the student that was lost last week at DePauli Middle School. I reached out to them. My daughter went to DePauli, so I know all the staff there. And I just want to say thank you to them for the important work they're doing to help their community and their students move forward.
And that's wonderful. Thank you very much for doing that, because it's kind of a lull time, this 3 weeks, you know. A lot of people are on vacations and stuff, and sometimes the notices don't get distributed. And for example, the principal that was at Sparks High for 17 years, in fact, he taught me typing as a student, died, and no one was around to put it through the internet and what have you. But it's kind of a low point, so thank you very much for doing that. That was wonderful. Yes?
And I think we have to thank our staff. We're not taken by surprise. When something happens, we know.
Yeah.
We check, we know, so that if somebody does call, you're not caught out not knowing what's going on.
You know, and in my report, I'd like to say that our staff should get a 5-star. I hate that. Let's give them 100% for what they've done since August. You know, it's been our staff that has been the glue that has held this district together. It's our staff that is making changes. It's our staff that is concerned. It's our staff that are helping children every day and looking after their well-being, not welfare, well-being, and it's tremendous. And I have to give a shout out for Trustee Davis. I came to. I promoted you because superintendent isn't as high.
Yeah, that's a demotion.
I'm sorry. Well, anyway, you know who I mean. But anyway, there was a problem. I got a business card. I got it with her. I called the guy to tell him that Superintendent Davis was going to be on it and he'll be hearing from her. By the time I left the greenhouse and I got home and I called him, she had already made contact with him. She had already done what needed to be done and correct the problem. That's action. Action with a capital A. And I'm just so proud of this staff, and I just hope that we can continue down the road and maybe we'll win. What's it called? Taxpayer Award? Nevada Taxpayers Award. We won it once before. It's a nice thing, and I think we were the first school district to ever do it in the state of Nevada. So we can look for big things. Yes, sir.
As for the IB graduation, I actually know there were a lot of my friends that had graduated last year that were part of that graduation, and a lot of them because there are many of them that graduated, and so a lot of them don't get particular recognition. But I'd just like to say that it's really a privilege to be able to surround myself with people that challenge my intelligence and my mind in the way that they do, and I'm really hoping that next year I can be at that graduation too as a recipient.
And you know what too is amazing, and it shouldn't amaze me, but the percentage of the students that are going to UNR as compared to going out of state and elsewhere. I think it probably was twice as many are going to UNR than are going out of state. So we're going to grow geniuses, hard workers like yourself. You're working, you're going to school, you're doing things, and it's for our community, that's a plus. That's a plus. So thank you for bringing it up. Okay, in my report too, I wanted to throw out an idea, and that is I'd like to, on one, block off, we got Tuesday, but block off another day like Wednesday or Thursday, and all the, or whatever, you don't have classes, like if it's Friday or whatever, Friday, if we do that, and all the school district, like the workshop and stuff, would be put on either Tuesday or that, so that we could plan our future. It just, like yesterday I had to leave that meeting because I thought Monday I had oral surgery, and so I put my appointment for that, and then I get that, and we can just better plan. And then I would think we should try to do this. I don't know if what department, but instead of having the awards and stuff in a regular meeting, have a special meeting once a month on one of the Tuesdays we're off in one of the high schools, and they could have music entertainment as the people are coming in, and if they have what's the Mexican mariachi or whatever they have, they could put on, and maybe get some art there and something, and we could call it Spotlight on Achievement, and we could have all these awards that the credit union so thankfully passes out and stuff, and that would be so that afterwards maybe we could have some macadamia cookies or cake or something, and we could have a chance to talk with the families, meet the kids, congratulate them and stuff, because here we say, oh, congratulations, good job, and then they're out the door and we don't get a chance to mingle. How does everybody like it?
I think it'd be great. Maybe do it a little later in the evening for those that have to work.
Exactly.
Because some parents may not be able to get off if we did it. I mean, it could be a day of a board meeting if you wanted it to be, and we did it at 5:30 or 6, or something, whatever it is that we did it. I like your idea of going to the schools, so I think that's kind of cool.
See, I like,
go to their theaters or whatever.
That IB program, they had the tables with tablecloths. It really looked nice, and something like that, because it really is an honor when you think of it. That substitute, that's one person each semester, that's only 2. So they must be outstanding people.
Right.
And to just take time to maybe have a cake or punch or something and do it. And I like your idea of later in the day, like 5 to 6.
Just to give parents an opportunity, more of an opportunity to come, or other grandparents, whatever.
Yeah.
If we did it a little bit later in the workday.
Because there's a lot of times when the people say, well, my dad wanted to be here, but he's working. And, give up a day's pay or whatever they charge you with. It's something. Right. But if that's okay, maybe the leadership team could look, and you're off on Friday, so maybe that's Tuesday and Friday. Okay? But on the spotlight on achievement on like the first Tuesday or the third Tuesday, have that in the high school or something. We can look at that. Yeah, we can look at it at leadership team tomorrow. Is that all right with everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. what we've all been waiting for. On pins and needles, Mr. Smith, the superintendent's report.
Do we need a drum roll?
It'll be short today. It was, we had Christmas break, but it was a great opportunity for me to get out into the community and start meeting the community leaders. So a lot of my Christmas break, I spent having breakfasts and lunches and just getting to know the community and talking about our district, letting them know our story. Let us get back to what we do well. And so I believe that from the feedback received, people are really excited about hearing our story, especially when we talk about hearing the story from the mouths of the children. And I think today was a perfect example with just a small package, but such a big idea, big things from her. But I think we have to continue with that because there's great work being done in our schools. And I have to thank the staff, John. I know that we do give you fast service.
Really?
However, it's just not me. It takes the entire staff to make that happen because you all send requests to me and so I funnel them out, right? But what a great team. I mean, across the board, not just even on operations, on academics. We really try to do the best we can for our community at large. And so I'm really excited, John, about the work we're going to do together. And, maybe we will win one of those awards.
You never know.
Never know.
Not just one.
That's
Yeah, right. Why
right.
stop at
Let's get them all,
one?
huh?
And I would, since we're almost done with our meeting, I want to say that the new members and the old members and so forth, what a team we're going to have, because we're each going to bring different perspectives to the table and experiences. When I was checking, and I'll have the list of the committees and stuff and email them out, but when I was looking at that, I tried to match your experiences and your loves and that. And I really could have switched you to any of the committees and been all right with it. I think we're going to be a wonderful team, more like a family with 64 children, 64,000. 64,000.
Oh, God, dinner time is a
Well,
nightmare.
I've got to tell you, because it's been on my mind when Councilman Smith said there's only 6,000 houses, and here the demographics compiled by the university and by all the different entities say it's going to be 64, that it's 64 already, 4,000 already approved. That's a lot of houses.
Gotta tell you though, I was proud of our staff because they did the research and our staff was right.
They were right.
I was
there.
proud. Got that answer right back. We did I was proud.
Oh,
I was proud.
it was great. Okay, now I think that's it, except for the number 10. Any requests for possible future agenda items?
I do have one.
Good.
Mr. President. Priyasha actually pulled me aside, and I think there's a small capital project that we could maybe do. The painted bricks when we walk in?
Yes.
With each different school?
Yes.
Well, she pointed out the Westergaard brick, and it's poor condition. And so she has offered to maybe paint it to bring it back to life so you can actually read Westergaard, because you can't actually read the whole thing.
Yeah.
And make it look good. And so I'd like to see if maybe we can get that on an agenda and get Priyasha maybe to take care of that for us.
Yeah. Well, we'll have plant facilities, somebody from plant facilities call you with the okay to do it. And if you do that like you do everything else, I never noticed your boots because I can't see you on here.
Those are hot.
Yeah.
Those are hot boots.
Everybody said they're hot.
Those are hot.
So would you be willing to do that? Oh, terrific. And you don't have to have a beautiful thing in your hair to do that either. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Just one
yes.
question. Just to clarify your comment about the possibility of meeting on a Friday, and I got the sense that you were talking more about a meeting for us to discuss more like a retreat for us. Is that the way?
Well, whenever they have workshops or something like that, they could still use like the third Tuesday and the first Tuesday, and they can even have workshops on we've had them where we've canceled board meetings too. So to have stuff on those 2 days so that we, now it may interfere with your guys' consulting businesses though. You know, because.
So what days do we want to do? The board meeting on Tuesday, of course.
Yeah.
And then Fridays for workshops.
Yeah.
Well, we have the other Tuesdays as well, so it
Yeah.
could still be a Tuesday, but
Yeah. See, it could
first
be
or
4
third.
Tuesdays. We could have like the first Tuesday, we could have a workshop on, let's say, team building or anything. And then have that from, let's say, noon to 5, and then have that awards deal at 5, and we could even, you know, maybe have it at a school or board workshop, you know.
So when we're looking at the calendar, we want to look at Tuesdays for those days so that we contact schools and start
Tuesdays
organizing.
primarily.
that would be then we for those that do what we do, that gives us
Yeah.
a planning opportunity.
Fridays are a tough day, I think, for 3 of us.
Friday's tough.
So we'll
Well,
look at Tuesdays.
they're having Friday's tough.
Tuesday's fine for me. I can handle Thursday in the afternoon, as long as it's before 4 o'clock. My class is at 4.
I have a suggestion. I know the leadership team is meeting tomorrow. Perhaps if we were to send some options out to everyone, maybe we could figure that out. We don't have to, because we'd all be pulling out our calendars
Yeah.
right now. That might get a little bit crazy.
Why don't you go and look and see what days you would like to, the idea is for them to know that, you know, it's not going to be all the time, but instead of everything on a Friday or a Tuesday or this, so that you can be open to consult on the weekend or
Do you
something.
want them to email that to Kristen or to you?
I'd like them to email it to you.
Oh, you haven't saw my email.
You're
Okay.
Mrs.
Funnel it
Action.
to other people.
And just as a reminder, you also have your board policy meetings on those Tuesdays as well. So you
Yeah,
typically have
and in the list of committees, we should look at that policy committee, because I think it's so vague. Because are we really going to need that many meetings if we just do one policy each month and Lisa could introduce it? That could be one, and we could talk about it, and then the next meeting have 2, and then change it so that the third meeting we adopt it instead of 4. Could we do that?
Well, we can talk about that. She's got a calendar. She's got a calendar currently set, and there's now it should slow down past, say, June, because she has it scheduled to get most, if not all of them, accomplished by June. So it might slow down after that. But right now there is a calendar for that policy, and now that. And, you know, the timing of that on Tuesdays can be adjusted so we can do other things on Tuesday, too. I just want to be careful about that.
Okay.
So you could do like a work session in the morning and then go
But-
into a policy in the afternoon.
Yeah, but what they've been doing is having, everybody could go to the policy committee, and this way, if you narrowed it down to, let's say, 3 or whatever, maybe they could meet like one morning before school or something like that. Somebody must have been listening in the other room.
So you mean 3 trustees, not necessarily 3 policies?
No, that's what I'm talking about, and then they work on it, and then, but couldn't we narrow it to 3 meetings?
Possibly.
Because we drag it out
To
for
4, yeah.
And there's a lot of times that 2, 3, and 4, we never have a remark.
But you got to start it somewhere, and that's where the policy committee is.
Okay,
But we can talk more tomorrow, too.
okay.
It's on the agenda for tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So just for clarification, if you can email me your good days, bad days, better days, however that works out, and then we will look at them with the board leadership team and determine which days works for everybody. I'll need that by 7 o'clock tonight. Thank you.
Well, I was hoping that we would get out before 5. And I think, you know, maybe our regular meetings, we don't have to start at 2 o'clock. If we can run through this as fast as we did here.
John, we got 25 minutes of your commentary.
Yeah. Yeah, you're supposed to be following Robert's rules. Trying to help you out.
Bingo! The chair has privileges.
No, the chair does not.
This is going to be fun.
Yes. And that's what we should do is, you know, education is fundamental. What's the first three letters?
It's fun.
Fun. And if we don't have fun, what the heck? You know, it's not worth it. So, and that's with staff and everybody, right?
Right, right.
Okay, is there a
I move adjournment.
Public comment.
public comment? Is there any public?
There was one, but I think Mr. Ippolito left.
Mr. Ippolito in the
Well, I
back
can
room?
tell you what he was here for.
Well, I believe there is a meeting in Carson tonight that he might have left to go to, so.
He's gone? Okay.
But he's having a luncheon at King's.
Buffet?
Yeah, King's Buffet
When's that?
tomorrow.
Dr. Taylor moved, we didn't get a second.
But we need a.
Okay,
next meeting.
we had a move to adjourn.
Second.
Second, okay. Very good.
JJ, you said
Thank
we
you
needed-
for helping me out.
We needed the next meeting announcement, JJ, or what?
Oh,
I
No.
don't do email.
I forgot about the next meeting. The next meeting is the 27th.